Chelsea Football Club, Christopher Nkunku and Manchester United are in talks to get a move to Old Trafford. Furthermore, we've got an update on Bradley Barcola and Chelsea inquiring, however, being told by Luis Enrique and the team, do want. Arsenal, Bayern Munich and Chelsea all wanted his services. Gittens, well, it looks like Chelsea are in a little tug of war for Gittens as well. We're going to break that down. Bayern Munich all of a sudden want Malo Gusto, and Robert Sanchez to West Ham is heating up, and that's just the best news of the day. Listen, today's video is jam-packed. If you thought about missing this one and clicking off, don't be silly. 15 minutes and I'm gonna get you up to date on your latest Chelsea stick. This is gonna be all the nutrition that you need, because you know I'm your favorite YouTube dietitian. So let's get started. But before we get started, what do you do when you come in here? Hit the like button to support the channel. It's the best way to tell YouTube we like the Kavkas View. And secondly, if you enjoy football related content, you want it in short film content, quick, easy on a daily basis, subscribe over here and let's get ready to rumble. Let's go. Christopher Nkunku has not been a success story at Chelsea. I don't think it's unfair to say that. I think it's been an outlandish failure. It's been a massive, diabolical failure. And it's not even his fault, and it's not even Chelsea's fault. Let me just give you a quick timeline. Chelsea sign him. He's not at Chelsea until the end of the year. Whilst he joins them, he picks up a little injury before the World Cup in Qatar. Then what happens? He comes back, he smashes the season, joins Chelsea, plays for Chelsea in pre-season, picks up an injury that is far worse than initially expected. He ends up missing most of the season. Then when he comes back towards the end of the season under Pochettino, the idea is, oh my God, he's going to be phenomenal for us. Well, what happened with that? His injuries lingered on. He's finally got back into the team, and what do we notice? His physicality is completely gone. His explosiveness, his ability to turn under pressure, his ability to get away from people. He's struggling. The only way he's going to fix this, and we're going to know if the real Nkunku will ever return, by giving him minutes, and he needs to play on a consistent basis so that he gets his confidence up and confidence in his body. Because at the moment, he's lacking it. But what's going on? Chelsea tried to sell him in January, and they put an outlandish fee on him. The fee was beyond stupid. Like, there is realism and then there's optimism. This is stupid. He is not worth £60 million. If anybody looks in the mirror and says Christopher Nkunku is worth £60 million in his current form, you're an absolute moron. Because how you can justify £60 million for a player that's been injured religiously, a player that is out of form massively for such a long period of time that this might even be his norm. And another thing, Chelsea don't even play him. Chelsea literally avoid for using him. So asking for 60 million is disrespect. It's not a negotiation tactic. It is stupidity of the highest order. So what's going on now? Manchester United apparently have reached out to his entourage and reached out to his team and his agents and have decided, listen, let's start talking numbers, let's start talking dates, and let's start seeing if we can get a deal done. This is a phenomenal move for Nkunku, only if Mbeumo doesn't join Manchester United. Look, the reality is, I think this is the backup to Mbeumo if the deal doesn't happen. So if Mbeumo doesn't go to Manchester United, they're going to go to Nkunku and say, listen, let's get this deal done. He knows Vavell. He knows Manchester United due to Vavell, right? There's a link there. So you can believe that this story is real. Vavell was one of the reasons we signed Christopher Nkunku. And it doesn't shock me that he still has belief in the player. Hence, I don't believe this is fake. I believe there are talks. I just don't believe Manchester United are going to pay the money Chelsea want. And I don't know what Chelsea want at this moment in time. Because if you're asking for 60 million, Nkunku will still be a Chelsea player. Nobody's paying that kind of money. If you're asking for something reasonable, 35 million, couple of add-ons, then maybe I think someone will do the deal. In the comments below, let me know. Do you think Nkunku at Manchester United is a big deal? And do you have a problem with it? I don't. Notoriously this summer, what we keep hearing from people is Chelsea have no ambition. The targets we're going after are targets that we should have been getting if we had no Champions League football. Now that we have Champions League football, we're almost wasting it. We're not giving it the respect it deserves. However, and this is where it gets very interesting. Today, L'Equipe has released that Chelsea, along with Arsenal and Bayern Munich, have all inquired about Bradley Barcola. Bradley Barcola, as the French say, Barcola is a player that basically blew up on the scene this year. I think what PSG currently have is Ousmane Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, and they also have two young Frenchmen that are really coming into their own. There's healthy competition, there's enough minutes for them to both play, there's enough to take them out of the team, put them back in, and it's a healthy environment. What has happened is when Chelsea and the other two clubs have inquired, Enrique said, no thank you, no mas, he's not for sale, no more. We don't need to talk. And the club definitively defended him. The player has no intention of leaving. The player believes he's in a good environment, and the only thing the player wants is healthy competition and regular minutes. And I think that's something he's going to get. Look, the reality is Barcola's not ready to go somewhere and be the main man. But what Barcola is ready to do is fight with Desiree Doué. Doué's bad, he comes in. He plays 4 or 5 games, Doué comes off the bench. When Doué starts doing well, Doué starts, Barcola drops on the bench. And what you'll see there is, when they're bad, there's not a problem, because what's happening is Huicha and Ousmane Dembele are the ones picking up the slack. They're always going to be working and getting the numbers. The other two can develop. When one of those two moves on, the other person naturally fits in. And for me, I love that idea of the dynamic. It works out. And I don't think Barcola is going to be going anywhere, at least next year. Maybe in a couple of years' time when he wants to expand his horizon and leave France. Maybe at that moment. But at this moment in time, they've just won the Champions League. They could win the Club World Cup. They could go and win the Intercontinental Cup. And they could repeat in the Champions League next year. Why would you not want to be part of that right before a World Cup? So if we can't get Barcola, what we've noticed is the domino effect has started. Look, Chelsea want a left winger. Arsenal want a left winger. Bayern want a left winger. So many clubs want a left winger, and it's evident here, right? We've seen the same names being linked with everyone. And what we saw is, initially, the plan was Nico Williams. Nico Williams has made it clear to everybody. I've been saying it on this channel for over a year. This Donny wants to go to Barcelona. He does not want to go anywhere. And if he leaves Spain, he wants to be compensated for it at a Saudi premium rate. He wants to be paid such a value, yeah, where it's like, I can't say no. And it's that reality. And for me, the quicker people accept that, the easier it's going to be. He's already agreed to take a smaller salary at Barcelona just to move to them. They just need to get that fee sorted out with Atletico Bilbao. But how does this impact Chelsea? Well, Chelsea won't get, and because Williams is off the table and Rodrigo's not on the table and Leao and Gittens are the only ones that are there, Bayern Munich are interested in Gittens now. Apparently they really like him, he fits the profile, and the reports are coming out that they're going to start inquiring. So either Chelsea hurry up and acquire Gittens, or we might lose out, and then in a year's time, if he does well, people are going to be talking about him the same way they're talking about Doué and Barcola every time they score. Oh, we almost signed them. Look, what I think is happening here is good old transfer window shenanigans, as I like to call it. We, a couple of days ago, said we wanted Malik Fofana. And that was, in my opinion, Chelsea putting pressure on Dortmund like, hey, if you don't simmer down with this price, what we're going to do is we're going to get Fofana and you're going to have an unhappy player. But now, what we're seeing and what we're hearing is Bayern want Gittens. That's a bit out of the blue, no? Coincidental? I think not. I think this is coming from Dortmund, basically telling Chelsea, listen, if you think you're going to scare us with Fofana, we're going to tell you Bayern want him. And if Bayern want him, we'll sell him to Bayern. And then you miss out on your number 1 target or your number 2 target, because we all know we wanted Williams first. So, this situation isn't moving along. It's at a stalemate. But what I do think is going to happen is once one left winger goes somewhere, there's going to be a domino effect. A bunch of left wingers are going to move around and clubs are going to get their money's worth. What can absolutely throw a spanner in there is if the rumors come out that Rodrigo's leaving. If Rodrigo's leaving, I think Bayern, Arsenal and Chelsea will all put a package forward. And it's about him picking where he wants to go. But I saw the wages he apparently wants. Yo, I don't see us paying him. £10 million net. But it's like a lot of you say, the premium players, you got to pay the premium wages if you want them. And the reality is, they might not want to do it. And we're going to have to be honest and realistic about it. This next story is going to be a quick one. It's regarding Robert Sanchez. So a lot of you know Robert Sanchez played his foolishness against Flamengo, right? He had a few moments that reminded us that he's Bob Sanchez. Baldy does literally good things, but then he always reminds us who he really is, right? But what has happened now is it's come out that the Times are suggesting that West Ham are really interested in Robert Sanchez. Graham Potter wants to reunite with him. Graham Potter is actively looking to bring him to the club. He's one of the names on the shortlist alongside Aaron Ramsdale. I'll stop you right there. If West Ham get Aaron Ramsdale, I believe they're going down next year. Probability tells me if he's your number 1 keeper, you're getting relegated. So, Chelsea Football Club now need to find a way to move Sanchez there. What I think is going to happen is Chelsea are going to buy a new keeper. They can keep convincing us over and over again. They can tell me religiously, constantly, vehemently, every single word in the thesaurus under aggressively, like, these lot want a new keeper. They do not believe in these keepers they have. If they did, we wouldn't be hearing as many rumors as we are. Let me ask you a question. Why am I not hearing consistently Chelsea are looking for a new centre-half on the left-hand side? Because they rate Colwell. Why am I not hearing they consistently want a new star in left-back? Because they believe in Cucurella. You can say the same with James. You can say the same with midfield. You can say the same with Cole Palmer. You can say the same, right, with the number 9 in the lap now. We're not hearing we're going to get a new number 9 anymore. Have you noticed that? What we're hearing is a replacement for Jackson, and he'll be battling Delap. It's not the new starting shiny toy that everyone wanted. We're always hearing rumors regarding this goalkeeper position. They do not want this guy in goal. They're trying to move him, and they will. And once they will move him to West Ham, that will create the domino effect of us going to get a new keeper. However, and this is a big however, do not rule out a possibility where Sanchez leaves and they change their mind and they tell Petrovic, you're the number 1, it's yours to lose. That is also on the card. I think people have ignored that. The final story is regarding Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto is such an interesting phenomenon, right? Because we are really starting to see something now unravel in front of us, and sometimes you have to make difficult decisions. So, what's going on? And this story is coming from Germany. Bayern Munich are interested in Malo. They believe he's a good asset. They'll be willing to go and get him. However, Chelsea want 50 million euro. That is a lot of money for a player that you paid 30 million or 26 million euros for. To almost flip him in 2 years for 50 million is mad. I think that is just a high fee. I genuinely believe a fee of 35 plus 5 gets it done. That's what I think Malo Gusto's worth. I think he's a £35 million player with 5 million in add-ons. Altogether, that's a £40 million move. Or 40 million euros move. However, we need to talk about Malo Gusto. Because Malo Gusto has been really unconvincing this year. I'm going to put it politely, right? The first year under Mauricio Pochettino, I think he's absolutely smashed it. I think he was a surprise. I think he played fullback. What was really interesting is all we heard when we were signing him was this is a forward-thinking fullback. However, what I saw was this is a proper one-on-one defender. Guy relished the challenge. He loved to tackle. He got stuck in. He had personality. He expressed himself. Yes, he was susceptible for a backstick cross, switched off. However, this year, what's ended up happening is, in my opinion, he's been so focused in inverting and being on the ball. He's lingered away from what made him good. And now, when he does play right back, I feel like he's almost being overly exposed. And I'm not seeing what I want to see out of him. And what it's led to is a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people want him sold. A lot of people think he's not a good footballer. And for me, this is weird because now we're in a position where I always hear this expression in football and I love it. Sell him 1 year too early than 1 year too late. Sometimes in life, you got to sell a player or get rid of something too early before it gets toxic. So like, for example, if you're dating somebody, you know you ain't marrying her. However, you're in a good place right now, so you're like, this is convenient for me. But if you know there is no long-term future here, you need to cut that off before it gets toxic and then you both do damage to each other. Mentally, obviously not physically. Like, where you're both basically going to hate each other for the rest of your lives. Sometimes you actively need to like look at stuff and go, this isn't going anywhere. We need to end it. And this is what I think is happening with Chelsea and Gusto. I think Chelsea need to assess what they have. What do they have? They've got Reece James, who's the guaranteed star. They have Malo Gusto, who's a very good understudy, somebody that is capable of being a starter. He has ambitions of being a starter. You also have Josh Achempo. Josh Achempo needs minutes next year. You can't convince me otherwise. This kid needs to play. I think when he's played, he's been phenomenal. I've never looked at Josh and said he is out of his depth. The problem now is Malo Gusto, if there's an offer of 40 million euros coming in, accept it. Because what you do is you promote Josh and you give James the key. James gets injured, what happens is, it's simple. You have Josh to step up, he needs to step up and show what he's worth, and if that doesn't work, you always have Chalobah to play right centre back, because we do the inverted thing anyway. This is where the balance kicks in. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think I've oversimplified it? Do you think I'm talking nonsense? I want to hear your comments. In the pinned comment, there will be a link to my TikTok. I've got a video on Garnacho wearing an Aston Villa top and causing absolute travesty. I've also got a link for my thoughts on the Andre Santos thing, because this is getting a little bit sticky. I was going to do a full-length video, but there was so much news today that can wait till tomorrow. But I'll do a quick one on TikTok just to give you a little appetizer. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out. Have a lovely day. Bye.